Okay, I'm loving HBO's Watchmen series, and it really hit me last night when I was watching episode 2 that as much as this is connected to Watchmen content that we may be familiar with, we're really moving in uncharted territory, and I have no idea where this is going. And because it's connected to Watchmen lore and Watchmen iconography that I am familiar with, this feels really edgy and cool, and it reminds me of a lot of the same feelings that I had when I was reading the books when I was a teenager. I was like, where the heck is this story going? What the hell is going to happen? This is crazy. This is twisted. And that's kind of how the show is making me feel, and I'm loving it.
This doesn't make any sense.
There's lots of homages to Alan Moore's Watchmen comic in this episode, but it's starting to kind of waft in with lots of sly kind of allusions to previous Watchmen characters and Watchmen sort of little myth items, which is really cool. Big focus on Dr. Manhattan in this episode. There is this unbelievably cool play within a play kind of moment in here where we get the origin story of Dr. Manhattan told in a very clever way, which is also incredibly twisted. I'm loving Regina King. I think she's wonderful as our lead here, and Louis Gossett Jr. is completely shining in the second episode. And I love the older Ozymandias played by Jeremy Irons, who is just relishing the role, but also, he's given a lot of good stuff to work with there. It's really fun. And of course, he's got these companions with him that are also expertly performed. And so you're sitting there in this kind of uneasy state, like, what is he going to do to these characters, which he is just so abusive towards? And then you see, like, holy hell rain down on him, and it's unnerving and definitely super interesting, just like the best Watchmen stories out there. Seeing performers like Don Johnson get wrapped up into this intrigue. No one is what they've painted on their face. The fact that Tim Blake Nelson says at one point that he's crying under his mirror mask, like everybody is kind of projecting and wearing a facade in Watchmen. And it really feels like, like a lot of serialized television out there, we are getting a little kind of taste of what is to come at the end of one episode on a cool kind of cliffhanger, and then a lot is revealed in the second episode. It almost echoes a lot of the stuff that I felt watching the first season of Mr. Robot, which is a sensational show. I don't know where this path is leading me.
You curse too much.
It is definitely a show where you get uncomfortable and you sit and you think about the motivations of characters and also the motivations and the creativity of all of the people behind the scenes that are drafting up and putting this story together. Definitely going through some incredibly dark territory. A lot of racism is in full display here. The first episode sort of launched with the devastation of the Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I didn't know how much was fictionalized, and of course, during the course of the week that episode aired, so much attention has been put on the fact that part of American history has not been fully, represented or well represented. And it was definitely something to talk about. And to see that so much of what was put on screen in the first episode of Watchmen actually happened is just horrifying, And the fact that this is a show that is definitely political, definitely has an agenda, definitely trying to kind of play with the way that we deal with history and media consumption and the truths that are being forced down our throats and whether they are true or not. And it's represented either through allegory within the plot of the show or head on, as is the case in that Tulsa, Oklahoma race riot scene that we saw, is really marvelous.
Okay.
This venture into the unknown is really cool. And so to see some of the mystery kind of get unraveled bit by bit from episode to episode, I am in. I am in on this show, and I can't wait for episode 3. Some fantastic stuff happens at the end of episode 2. It's not the Watchmen comics that we've read. It's not the movie. This is uncharted territory, and it's incredibly well made. I'm in for this. I'm giving episode 2 of Watchmen on HBO a 9 out of 10.